Next up, we've got a first here at 106 West. We've got a storyteller. Let's give our storyteller, Mr. Larry Stephenson, a big hand. Larry is a member of the Georgia Speakers Bureau, the North Gwinnett Advanced Toastmasters Club, and the Sugar Loafers Toastmasters Club. Larry can speak on residential real estate and residential construction topics, but tonight he's going to speak to us as a very fun and entertaining speaker. Not that those other topics aren't fun and entertaining, but I'm not sure how they go over on an open mic. His topic tonight is going to be me, Miss Irene, and that GPS thing. Welcome, Larry.
My Aunt Janie is my mama's youngest sister. She's not much older than me, and I've been in love with her my whole life. I wanted to marry her, but she up and married Uncle George. Now, Aunt Janie and Uncle George, they have a playhouse where they put on stages, plays, for different communities around the southeastern United States to help those communities and churches raise money. And they put me in charge of the art department, which means I have to go and meet with these people early on in the process so I'll know how to build the sets for their plays. Well, Aunt Janie asked me to go up to this little town up in North Carolina. And I didn't want to go, because I knew it was going to be a long and arduous road trip into unfamiliar territory. This area of the southeastern United States is known as the land version of the Bermuda Triangle. There's been cars and trucks seen going in there, and they ain't never seen them since. For me to just be on the safe side, I put in my truck my latest birthday present, which is still wrapped up. It was a GPS unit. I don't believe in them things. I can't figure out how they work. So I put it in my truck because I was a Boy Scout growing up, and I always liked to be prepared. But as usual, I was going to have to depend on my innate navigational skills, which were a generational gift from my daddy. As a result of that gift, I'm hardwired to know where I am 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Well, like I said, I was going to have to go through the United States, southeastern United States. That means I was going to be in Tennessee, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia. And all them states have got a lot of fine expressway systems, but not one of them goes anywhere near where you need to go. So I had to depend on the hilly route, which means I was going to have to go through the back roads and circumnavigate all the hills and the valleys and mountains up in that godforsaken area. I'm a flatlander. I like to see where I'm going. All them curvy roads drive me crazy. Well, anyway, I'd been on the road about 3 hours, I guess. And I pulled over to one of them overlook places. I can't figure out what they're overlooking, but I pulled over there to get out to check with the sun. That's how I keep my bearings. Well, I got out of the car and it was foggy and dark. I couldn't even see the sun. The wind was blowing. I thought, Lord have mercy. So I knew I didn't going to need it, but I plugged up that GPS unit just to be on the safe side. Again, I was a Boy Scout when I was growing up, and I always liked to be prepared. So anyway, I rode on down the road, and I'd gone a few miles, and I saw this sign that said, high elevation scenic route, next left. Well, I thought, I'm ahead of schedule. I'd like to go see that scenic route. So when I come up there, I started turning left. All of a sudden, this voice come out, a woman's voice come out and said, bear right, bear right, bear right. And I didn't know where in the world that woman was coming from. It scared me to death, made the hair on the back of my neck stand up. I was afraid I had a ghostess in the truck with me. It took me a little while to figure out that woman was talking to me through that GPS thing. And I don't understand how she knew where I was. But anyway, I told her in no uncertain terms that I was going to be bearing left as much as possible. And I didn't need her help in telling me how to go. And I shouldn't have said that, because right after I made that turn, she commenced to holler and stop, make a U-turn, and go back and turn left on a regular highway. And I told her again, I said, lady, I know where I'm going. I don't need your help. So she just pitching a fit. Well, I was up there going up on that scenic route, and the daggone road's so steep, I figured if it got any steeper, my truck's going to fall slap off that mountain. I was scared. So I saw another one of them overlooked parking places, and I pulled over there and got out. I've been on the road then about 4 hours. I got over there and I got out, stretched my legs, and I was walking around a little bit. First thing I noticed, it was getting dark. You could see the fog coming down between the mountains, and it was a lot colder. And right then it started to snow. I couldn't believe it. It was them great big old white, wet flakes, and it was just coming down to beat the band. And I thought, why come it couldn't do this at Christmas? I always wanted to have a white Christmas. And I was enjoying looking around and looking at all the wilderness. And it was really snowing hard, and I noticed down the road that I'd just come up, there was something on the shoulder of the road, and I couldn't figure out what it was, and I didn't think it was there when I come by, or I'd have seen it, shorter than the world, and I kept looking at it, and all of a sudden it stood up. It was a big old bear. I didn't know they come that big. His shoulders was this high. First thing I did is I looked over there to see where I left my truck. It was about 15 yards over there, and I looked back and checked on that bear, and he wasn't there no more. But I saw through the snow something bouncing up and down, and it was his head. I didn't know the heads got that big, but he was coming straight for me. So I turned and started trying to get to my truck, and I was slipping and sliding in that snow and in that dirt, and I didn't have to look back no more. I could hear him coming. He was going to try to eat me. I got over there and I opened that door, and I jumped in, slammed that door, and hit them door locks. Just as soon as I did, he hit the side of that truck. He was violent. I thought he was going to roll my truck over. He kept pushing on it, jumping up and down on it. I went into a coma of fear. I called it a coma of fear. I was scared. I couldn't do nothing. That thing was fixing to eat me. I said the only thing left I could do is pray. I put my hands together and looked up, and that bear was standing over my truck looking down through the sunroof at me. I didn't know they come that big. And let me tell you, his mouth was watering. I didn't know what in the world I was going to do. I was in shock. All of a sudden I heard, in 4.2 miles, turn left back on the regular highway, go 1 mile, turn right, and go in the convenience store and buy some gas. Well, that voice brought me out of my coma. I throwed that truck down the double O and floorboarded it, and I come out of there and I peeked in the rearview mirror, and I was throwing snow, gravel, and mud all over that bear, and he was up there biting it at the air. And I just hoped and prayed he didn't get my scent so he could follow me all the way back home and eat me. So anyway, when I got down there to the convenience store, I'm embarrassed to tell y'all, but I had peed in my pants when that bear attacked me. So I got out and I went in and washed off a little bit, washed my knees, and washed my hands. Paid the lady from the gas, come back out there and got in the truck. I was still shocked from that bear attack. And I said, Miss Irene, I had named the lady in the GPS Miss Irene. In the owner's manual, it suggested Irene, but since I'd been sort of rude to her earlier, I put Miss in there, so trying to get on her good side. And I said, Miss Irene, I want to get something straight. I'm still in charge of this trip, but I'm going to put you in charge of navigation. I can't think straight, so whatever you tell me to do, we're going to do. We got to get out of here quick before that bear catches us. So we took off down the road, and I know I was still in shock because I know it took longer than it seemed. But in a few minutes, with her direction, I found myself pulling into the parking lot of the hotel where I had made a reservation to meet with his town hall people about their play. I was going to spend the night there too. I was so proud that I made it safe to the hotel. I jumped out of my car and grabbed my overnight bag, and I was halfway across the parking lot. And I thought, and I stopped, and I said, you know, if it hadn't been for Miss Irene, I'd still be over there on the side of that mountain in that blizzard, and that bear probably would be done eating me up. So I thought I'd go back down there and say something nice to her. So I was walking back down that truck, and I was trying to think what I was going to say. I opened up that truck door, and before I could say anything, she said, "You ain't going to wear them pants to that meeting tonight, are you?" What can I say? I went on in, got cleaned up, went to the meeting. Next day, me and Miss Irene was on the way back home to Georgia. She was just a church, wouldn't ever stop, and I figured if I nodded my head every once in a while, she'd stay calmed down. And I realized then that I had conquered my fears about the newfangled navigational technology that's available. So if any of y'all want to take a trip anywhere, all you got to do is let me and Miss Irene know, and we'll give you some direction. Thank you very much.
Larry Stephenson, thank you so much.